Our next presentation bears the title, Mothers Against Marketing: Why Parents Should Boycott Stores Sexualizing Girls. Please welcome Sydney DeBerdt.
Have any of you seen Toddlers and Tiaras? It's the show where young girls get dressed to the nine to parade themselves in front of random judges. I used to watch this show, but as I look back, all I can think about is how uncomfortable these young girls looked. That being said, little me saw no issue and proudly told my mom how I want to do pageants as well. To my mom's horror, she explained to me that beauty pageants do nothing for young girls except give a false understanding of beauty. She also had me stop watching the show, worried that I would recognize my own beauty and self-worth as just an outfit and someone else's opinion. But if you think about it, aren't we all subconsciously participating in an invisible beauty pageant? What happens when young girls grow up only feeling beautiful while they are being objectified or judged? Clothing has always, and will always, be a significant part of our society. But just by looking back at how people have dressed throughout the years, we can see clothing for women becoming more and more revealing. Styles will continue to change, but one constant is how immodest clothing continues to be pushed as the new normal. Should we allow young girls to fall victim to these trends, which erase any ideas of modesty? I argue that parents need to boycott stores which sexualize young girls, and in doing so, they'll be able to teach the importance of modesty and that how you dress dictates how you are perceived. Before we can understand why it is so important for parents to do so, we must first understand what modesty is. Modesty is easily misunderstood and ignored, but for the purpose of this argument, I'm speaking of modesty as a way of dressing that glorifies yourself and our Creator. In 1 Timothy 2:9, we are called to dress with self-control, not in a way that is flirtatious or promiscuous, and not in causing distractions. This means that how we dress should be a representation of how we want our Creator to see ourselves. Modesty is more than just covering yourself. How you dress 100% dictates how you are perceived, as an outfit is the first thing someone notices. But if we continue to normalize over-sexualized clothing, young girls will have no issue buying and wearing these outfits. This worry is backed up and proven by a theory known as the objectification theory, founded by Barbara Fredrickson and Tommy Ann Roberts, two educated women in mental health and psychology. The objectification theory states that the more something is exposed to someone, the more normal it will become for their everyday life. For example, think of if a woman from the Middle East comes and visits a California beach. She will have a much different reaction to seeing young girls in strappy bikinis than a local Californian would. This is because she is not as exposed to this way of dressing, whereas for a Californian, this outfit is nothing unordinary. If we continue to glorify celebrities for their promiscuous ways of dressing, then young girls will grow up aligning beauty with showing off your body. Clothing stores are the main culprit for this issue. One might argue that social media would be, since that's what pushes what is and is not popular. But a study done of 15 popular preteen stores showed that at each location, over 30% of items drew unnecessary attention to certain body parts of young girls. It is impossible to deny the store's input to this issue when these are the clothes that they are selling. Another issue with glorifying clothing which shows off a young girl's body is that this puts an extra pressure on girls to be skinny. 75% of women ages 13 to 35 would consider themselves overweight, while only less than a quarter of these women would fall under an actual doctor's definition of overweight. With today's top models weighing approximately 23% less than the average American woman, it is impossible for this to not negatively affect young girls. Imagine a 13-year-old girl restricting her meals and making herself sick, all because her growing body does not fit the standard. How are girls whose bodies are growing and changing expected to not create complicated relationships with their self-image when the only outfits being pushed to them are showing off your body and revealing? You may be sitting in your seat, agreeing and possibly relating to what I have just said. But then you think to yourself, will boycotts even work? We've actually seen 2 examples of boycotts being successful in this past year. Target and Bud Light, 2 successful companies with significant sales drops after a bad marketing strategy. With the help of social media, customers were able to express their issues with these stores and made huge impacts. I would argue that now, more than ever, boycotts are highly effective, especially with social media behind them as a driving force. Realistically, there will always be clothing stores that sell clothes enabling young girls to be sexualized. But there will also always be role models for these girls to look up to. I hope that parents will see why it is so important to instill the beauty of modesty into their young girls. And in doing so, they will protect not only their own, but also other daughters by creating a new movement of modest dressing. I also hope that young girls will hear this and see this coming from a place of care and concern, not judgment. Think back to those little girls we mentioned earlier from Toddlers and Tiaras. What idea do you think was being put into their head at such a young age? The ideas of modesty or the idea to dress for someone else's opinion? The next time you are picking out an outfit, think to yourself, is this creating an image of myself that I would want my creator to see of me? Thank you.